What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. I'm your host, Mangone. I'm here with Hoop and AP. We're a little bit late. If you have any complaints about that, you can send that over to K Phallic in the Discord chat. He is the one to blame for all of this. So send the complaints to Mr. K Phallic in the Discord chat. But I'm here with Hoop. I'm here with AP. The likes are looking great from you guys. We'll head on over to you, Hoop. How is your Thursday going?
Just got a fresh crew cut here, feeling good. It was the barber was a little bit packed, so it was unfortunate, a little bit of a hurry to get here. But luckily for me, the crew ahead of time was running a little late. Like I said, we're going to blame K Phallic for that for sure. But yeah, the numbers are good. I mean, I already got 100 likes, and we haven't even said a word. So I mean, great job, great mojo. We got NBA. We have the NFL game tonight, which is not a great NFL game, but the prize pools are big as always. So. It's going to be a good night. We're going to be running Pure to the top of those leaderboards.
Yep, we got the Showdown playbook for you guys, so be sure to check that out. Check out BigT's player pool. Check out all the content that we have over here at Run Pure Sports. You're talking haircuts, Hoop. I'm getting due for one, and I need to find a barber. I asked Holden for a suggestion. Was that a good or bad idea? I feel like it was not a bad idea for getting one from Holden, but maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't know, man. I mean, who knows where you're going to find yourself? I mean, any recommendation from Holden would scare me, regardless of like what sector it's in. It's good luck. That's all I got to say. I mean, not many options. Or you go to DC, but I mean, that's both tough options there.
DC is a little bit of a further drive from what I hear. So I don't know if I want to drive that far for the haircut, but I want to make sure it gets done right. AP, you like getting the hair gel all nice and getting the hair good. Do you think a Holden recommendation for a haircut was a good or bad idea?
I mean, his hair looks fine. I think it'd be a fine recommendation. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Probably better than DC. DC's mom might do his. I mean, we don't know. I mean,
I don't know if I would
it would make some sense.
DC is the guy, right? On live on air, he just took the buzzer and just went straight into the hair and left it for a while. So
that is right.
Maybe Holden's the best recommendation. We'll have to see. I will report back whenever I do get that haircut done. I'm definitely getting due, though. We're getting close to that time. He said it's a good place. He said, just make sure around the holidays, don't just walk in. Then you'll be sitting there in the packed barbershop like Coop, and I don't want to do that. But we got a nice little NBA slate coming up for us. I'm excited for this slate. I hope you guys are. It's a nice little, is it 5 games or 6 games? It's 6 games, and it's nice and spaced out. So excited to talk about it. Hoop, I will go to you first. Before we start it off, talk about all the content we have, right? You were just talking before the show. We might not have your kicker with Nick Folk. We got the code RPS Heater 25. Get you 25% off your first payment. And we got the Showdown stuff, and we got Thanksgiving slates coming up, which the people love, and we'll be bringing all the content for that. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, good time, obviously, to get in. We got NBA going. We got NFL in full swing. Big NFL slate, obviously. Thanksgiving is one of the more popular DFS slates of the year. You get those 3 games on Thanksgiving. All our other content to go along with it, MMA, NASCAR, tennis, soccer, every sport, one price. We always talk about it. I mean, you're not gonna hear from us when a new sport starts and hey, you owe us $200, $300, $400. That's not what we do here. One price, everything included. If you want to add on $20, you can get the bet side. Those guys crush it, obviously, as well. So it's a good time to join. PGA will be back into full swing pretty soon as well. So there's a lot going on over here at Run Pure Sports. One price covers everything. You can use that promo code RPS Heater 25 for 25% off your first payment.
Yep, we got all the stuff that you guys need, and we got some great people in the Discord chat. We got Bobby Gomes dropping the news, and he's in the chat hanging out with us. We got Spread Astaire from the bet side. He is hanging out, listening to the show, so be sure to check that out. He does a show at 3:30 Eastern on the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel that you can check out. We all just jump on there. We talk DFS. We talk bets with him. But AP, before we kind of dive into this slate, give me like a quick map and overview of this 6-game slate.
Yeah, I love these slates. Like 6 games, it's broken up like 2 games lock at 7:30, 2 more at 8, 2 more at 9, and that's it. We're not going to be up sweating like until you guys would be like 1 a.m. sometimes. I mean, some of those games on the West Coast, like I'm up till 12:30 sometimes. So, it's real late for you guys. I like this. It's just all the news is going to come. It's 2 games at a time. We can make a ton of decisions. And we've had some more news pop up too, like just random stuff. Daniel Gafford questionable, which obviously, would be huge for Trez. Hero questionable. So some back-to-backs. I think it's going to be a good slate.
Yeah, and AP, I'm an hour behind you now. And let me tell you, being the 2 hours back is nice. Like I kind of like not being on the East Coast, sweating out these games all the way until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's been a good time, and we got a lot of good games to talk about today. So I'm excited to break it all down. Let's dive in, Hoop. Let's talk about the Wizards and the Heat. And I don't know if you saw Jimmy Butler yesterday, but Jimmy showed up to the mic and he said, "Hey, just letting you know, Bam and Lowry, you better show up for work tomorrow." So he's making sure that those guys get the job done and get in there and actually play. We got Jimmy Butler, obviously, is a great option that you can spend up on. Dwayne Dedmon, he could be a cheap option, obviously, on this slate. Hero, he disappointed some people, but then on the other side, we got the Washington Wizards, and they had some news. This is where the news lies today. Spencer Dinwiddie, he is out, and this opens up some opportunity for Raul Neto, opens it up for Aaron Holiday. Bradley Beal gets some more usage, and I do think this makes a little bit more opportunity there for like Harrell coming off the bench, and Kyle Kuzma could chuck up the ball a little bit more. Hoop, what are you doing with this 206 total here?
Yeah, I mean, we got the news that Dinwiddie's out, and obviously Dinwiddie being out is pretty substantial for the usage on this team. And the problem, though, is Bradley Beal will be back, and they say, like, no minutes restriction or anything. He's going to be full go. You look at projections, and like Neto pops, and he keeps popping when these guys are out, like when Beal's out and when Dinwiddie's out. He continues to pop, but he just doesn't do anything. He's not playing a ton of minutes, not being super productive when he's out there. So kind of hope people go to Neto in this spot. I'll be off of him. Aaron Holiday is the guy that gets the minutes in these spots, and he's been more productive. So I prefer Holiday over Neto, assuming they still kind of go with that same starting lineup of Holiday in there. Kyle Kuzma gets a little bump, KCP gets a little bump. I don't know if it's enough though on the slate. And then on the Heat side, sounds like all these guys are going to be back. And then the one that's questionable is Tyler Hero. And if Hero were to miss, pretty big upgrade to these other guys, but they're on a back-to-back. So this game is just very tricky to me all around. And I don't want to be on a ton of these pieces, but if Hero's out, probably have to look to some of these guys. I feel pretty good about Bam at 8-4. Didn't play yesterday, playing today. I don't think there's any serious injury concerns. So yeah, I have some interest in Bam. He'd probably be my favorite on the Heat side. We were on Jimmy Butler yesterday, and he absolutely went off. Be a little cautious on the back-to-back here. I don't think we're going to see him playing. What did he get yesterday? 37 minutes. I don't think he's going to play 37 minutes tonight. So probably be off Butler regardless of what happens with Hero. I have to look into that situation a little bit more. But the one I feel most comfortable with on the Heat side is Bam. And then on the Wizards side, Aaron Holiday. But overall, I'm not loving this game all that much.
Yeah, we also have Daniel Gafford, who is questionable. So, I mean, depending on that news, that could be important. Also, Denny has been getting a little bit more work at 3.7K. I don't mind him as an option. They've been using him more defensively, so I think his minutes could be pretty secure. On the Heat side, just one more thing to mention, like the other day, they just had like random guys that got ruled out, right? Lowry, we didn't expect coming. I wouldn't be shocked if Butler randomly got ruled out, but this is the first game. It's a 7:30 Eastern lock, so we got tons of time, but hey, I don't know what's going to happen with the Heat. I'm just going to wait for the news and then kind of make my adjustments from there. AP, we'll go over to you. We got the Wizards. We got the Heat here. This is obviously a pretty important game on the slate because we got all this news that's starting here at the start of the lock at 7:30. What are you doing here with this game, AP?
Yeah, sorry, my kids are messing with me.
I saw that. I was trying to stall as much as I could for you, but
yeah, no, they're just being kids. Yeah, I mean, good game here. I mean, at least like from a watching perspective, I mean, what's interesting, the Wizards rank 4th overall in points in the paint, but it's a tough matchup. As you guys probably know, I mean, the Heat are the best team in the league at limiting points in the paint. So, but still, like if Gafford gets ruled out, I do have a ton of interest in Trez. It's just, man, that price tag is cheap. We know what he can do. So he's like one guy. I'm just not worried about a tough matchup. Like I just think he would absolutely crush. And then, Beal too, like he's like a mid-range and 3 type guy. So like, I would be fine with him. He's going to get all the usage there. I would be more concerned about some of the fringe plays like Aaron Holiday. I'm going to underproject him. KCP, not really a guy I'm going to be interested in. Kyle Kuzma, I think it's going to be a very difficult matchup for him. So on the Wizards side, for me, it's just Beal and Trez if Gafford gets ruled out. Neto is kind of like, I'm going to give him like a fair projection. One to where like he might not hit my builds unless like I'm trying to get multiple studs in there. So I'm not going to like over project him or anything like that, but I'm not going to fade him either if he gets that start. But I do think they're going to run like an Aaron Holiday, Bradley Beal backcourt to start. So I'll probably end up off Neto anyway. Bam, ton of interest in Bam. I think he's a strong play. If Tyler Hero sits, I think you could have interest in a little bit, maybe Kyle Lowry, but I don't really like it. Maybe tournaments only. And Jimmy Butler's like the tough one too. That price tag is way up there. He was my play of the day yesterday with the news that hit. He absolutely smashed. Unfortunately for myself, I had Tyler Hero in there with them, and he got off to a slow start. Some of these teams are guarding Tyler Hero differently. Like they are throwing players at this guy because rightfully so. That's how you're going to have to guard this guy. He's taking his game to the next level. Very good player. And teams are going to, they're looking at him. They're going to guard him closely and, double him when they can. So keep an eye on the news here. As it stands right now, Bam will be the guy I have interest in.
Yep. And be sure to check out K Falik. I'm sure he'll be posting those charts in the Discord chat for the people. Hoop, we the people in the chat, he's saying it's going to be backload season for Mangone. I don't know for sure if I'm backloading because I like later news. I could just maybe be backloading a little bit because I like some of these games a little bit better. How about you? What do you think about like backloading day? Is there like a reason to? I know we have some news on this slate, like Terrence Mann is questionable. Obviously, that could be something that matters. Batum is doubtful. But do you think from a news perspective, you're going to be backloading though?
I mean, what are we really waiting on? So we're waiting on like Will Barton, right? We're waiting on
questionable. Bones is probable, and then there's like Naz Reid questionable and Okogie's questionable, and Curry is probable. But I mean, it is the Cavs, right? Wouldn't be shocked to be randomly sat.
I mean, to me, it's a 7:30 Eastern start time, and the latest game is 9 Eastern. I'm assuming we'll probably have most of the news like before lock. If we by chance don't, like then maybe, but to me, like the news that we're waiting on the slate isn't like, it's not like slate changing news. I mean, yes, if Barton is out, Jeff Green, Monte Morris, Aaron Gordon become better plays, but it's not like they become must plays. The Clippers news that's at 8 Eastern. We're going to have that Clippers news most likely before this slate lock. So I don't know. I don't think there's any need to like build lineups like backloading. It's just not slate changing news for me. But if you do think it's slate changing news, then yeah, maybe wait.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think you have to prioritize it on this slate. Let's move on though. Before we move on, let's get those likes, subscribe. We got 367 watch, 150 likes. You guys are doing a great job. Keep that up. We'll obviously be giving out those plays of the day for you guys as long as it's a nice little number. So I'm sure you guys will get the job done there. AP, I'm going to shift over to you to talk about this game. We got him on the graphic, Mr. Steph Curry. We know what he can do, but this is a game against Cleveland where I think some people are going to say, man, even though the Warriors are on the road, they're 9.5-point favorites. I mean, do you think Curry is worth spending up on this slate? Do you think Draymond's an interesting option? And what are you doing with all of the Cavs value with Jared Allen out and all the other options that are out of there now in Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Steph Curry, 11-8, the price tag's probably right. Like the guy's been crushing. The problem though is we have 2 guys that are right in that price range on this slate. And I got to side with our boy Jokic. I think you can only go one or the other. And I think the decision is very easy. Like the Warriors do not need a full game of Curry here to get the job done. In my opinion, I think if anything, maybe it's a game where Jordan Poole gets going. Maybe some of these backups too. Gary Payton's been a guy that looks pretty good. And he started the day off questionable, but obviously I think he's going to play. It's up to probable now. So I think he's fine. I just don't like this game at all, really. I mean, the Warriors have been so good defensively, one of the better teams in the league defensively too. But I think on the Cavs side, I'm just looking at the injury news right now. So Laurie got ruled out, Jared Allen got ruled out. So the thing is Dean Wade. I played him yesterday and early on, so frustrating. I'm surprised more people weren't tilting this dude because he was in there for the entire first half almost, and maybe had 8 fantasy points. Finally started hitting some shots in the second half and ended up getting there 25 fantasy points. But man, this dude is just a statue, doesn't do much, but I almost feel like you got to play him because he's 4-2. He's going to be in there the entire game. You worry about Big Ed Davis. Centers have been struggling against this Warriors team. They can run off the court. This Warriors team is so fast. I just can't see Ed Davis being in there very, very long. So I think it's going to be a ton of Dean Wade, a ton of Isaac Okoro, who those are two guys that don't do anything at all. And then who knows what the rest of this rotation is going to look like. You can't play Chetty Osman. He's 6'1". The price increase there makes no sense at all. I think this is a matchup where he should get a little bit more run. They're going to need a guy that can get out and guard the wing. He's one of their guys that can do that. So, but I'm not going to play him. So I'm going to stay away. If you think it stays close, Rubio, Garland, I think they're fine. But I don't know. I don't think they're must plays or anything for me.
And one of my issues with Dean Wade is he went from 3-2 to 4-2, which that is a pretty big price increase, where I do think he's fine. I do think he's going to play some more 5. And you know what I think that might do, AP? If you think it hurts Ed Davis a little bit on this slate, I think Chetty Osman gets a bump, but we can't really play him at that price tag. But it's worth talking about that. Chetty could see some of the minutes that maybe he didn't get yesterday. I think that's worth mentioning, but I'm not going to play him at that price. I think that's just how some of the charts could go. Obviously, K Fallick, he's always in that Discord bringing you that. Hoop, I'm going to slide on over to you. AP brought up great points Steph Curry. He's really expensive on this slate. And I don't think on this slate you want to play Steph Curry. I think it's just too hefty of a price tag. I don't love the spot for Draymond Green. I like him more of those competitive games. And sadly, that Nets game wasn't competitive enough. But we do have some guys on the Cavs side where Ricky Rubio and Garland, I think you could see them being some really good guard options that you might want to play in the mid-tier. And I think the mid-tier has some really good options right now, the way the pricing algorithm is built on DraftKings. So Hoop, I will go over to you on this one. What are you doing here with these guards in Rubio and Garland and some of the other options in this game?
I think AP's passed on his kid issues to my household because we're about to see Hoop go ballistic in a second here.
Yeah, Hoop, I was stalling for you. And I pray somehow I don't have a kid here in the next 20 minutes and I have kid issues. Let's have that.
Oh man, you don't want them. Let me tell you. In terms of this game, the problem I have on this Cleveland side, all right, yes, they're very thin right now, and it could be even thinner tonight. Kevin Love played last night. He's not going to play a ton on the back-to-back. First game when he played 22 minutes last night. Problem is though, the price tags, like you said, Dean Wade's now up to 4.2. If I'm playing Dean Wade, I want him in the 3Ks. Okoro is 4.9, and like I said on yesterday's show, I'm still scarred from Okoro last season, the third game of the season when he played 45 minutes and got 3 fantasy points. I can't get that out of my head. So I definitely can't pay 4.9. Chetty Osman, up to 6'1", AP, you tweeted that out. That's that's one of the craziest price increases we've seen all season. If I'm going to Cleveland, it's going to be either Ricky Rubio or Darius Garland. I think they're fine options. I don't know. The slate's kind of weird though. There's not a lot of good mid-range plays that I see so far. So it's kind of tough when it comes to roster construction. On the Warriors side, Steph Curry at 11.8 or Jokic. I got to side with Jokic. I absolutely have to. I think Steph does come in much lower owned, but I don't know. And he's got a little injury thing going on too. So wouldn't be thrilled to play him. Draymond Green is a guy, also got a price increase, 6'7". I was playing him when he was 6'2", 6'3", and doesn't seem like a lot, $300-$400 increase, but it's relatively substantial. So I don't know. I'm not thrilled about this game overall. Really, I'd be using this game as just filler pieces, like last guy type in to lineups, not core plays at all.
All right, let's move on. Let's go over.
Hey, real quick, like I got to make one more comment because I definitely overlooked this guy because I only got bits and pieces of this game. But man, we talk about these statues on the Cleveland side. We got Darius Garland. Like if all of these other guys aren't doing anything, it means someone is doing something. This dude took 26 shots, 13 3-point attempts. He's going to have that same opportunity. The Warriors play fast. I really overlooked Garland. I think he's my favorite play for sure on the Cavs side. I mean, if he does that again, like I think this guy, I think he's good. I don't even think this team needs Colin Sexton. Like I think they got their guy in Garland. So I don't know how I looked that over, but 40 minutes. I mean, maybe the back-to-back's concerning, but not really. He's going to have to do that again. And he took 26 shots. I don't know. I think he's probably a pretty good play.
Yeah, no, Garland, Rubio. I mean, this game environment fits them well, right? AP, like you don't have like a double big lineup where, maybe they throw stuff into the post. I mean, this is like a perfect, like just play these guys a ton of minutes, just load up and let them be the volume shooters on the day. I think it's a great call. Garland, Rubio, definitely two guys you want to get some exposure to. And Garland, he is cheaper over on FanDuel at $6K. So definitely someone to make sure to get some exposure to in your lineups. Let's shift from talking about a guard like Garland and shift over and talk about the Clippers guards because we got some Terrence Mann news that we are waiting on. He is questionable. We also have Nick Batum. He is doubtful. And man, there's going to be some opportunity here. These guys are going to be a bit shorthanded where this could be really good opportunities for Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Luke Kennard, Paul George. Obviously, you're going to see some small baller lineups, and you could see Zubac soak up a little bit more center minutes because they just need him out there. And it's a matchup where Memphis is okay to kind of put out their center in Steven Adams and even go bigger with Jaren Jackson. And I think Zubac and Jaren Jackson be fine matching up against each other, and they get Jaren Jackson in some foul trouble. But Hoop, we'll start it off with you because we got Eric Bledsoe on a slate where we got Terrence Mann questionable. So I know you'll like yourself some Eric Bledsoe, I'm sure here, but the price tag is elevated at 5.8. What are you doing here with these Clippers guards?
Yeah, I mean, Clippers are going to be one of the more appealing teams from a fantasy standpoint tonight. No Nicholas Batum. They already have other injuries. Justice Winslow will be out. Terrence Mann's out. That further extends their shortness at the guard position. So you're definitely going to have to probably on the slate. Like I said, it's a 6-game slate. Pricing is a little funky today. You're going to have to consider guys like Reggie Jackson, Bledsoe. And then if Mann is in for some reason, I think he's in play, and there hasn't really been any indication as to whether or not he'll be in or out. But this game is only 30 minutes after the slate lock, so we should have the news. Luke Kennard, I'm assuming slides into the starting lineup. He played 30 minutes last game. He'll be a fine value option at 4.4K. I don't hate Zubac. Played 32 minutes last game. 28 fantasy points, just missed like the double bonus. Paul George, the problem with Paul George is he's 11K and we have Jokic at 12 and Steph Curry at 11.8, who I probably prefer over Paul George. I was fine playing Paul George when he was hovering around 10K. Now they got that price up there, makes it a little more difficult to go to him. So, Luke Kennard at 4.4 is going to probably be one of the better value options. I still like Eric Bledsoe, kind of cooled off a little bit last game, but still played 30 minutes. And, that's what we want when we're considering someone at his price tag. On the Grizzlies side, the price has now come down on Desmond Bane, and not the same play with Brooks back, but the price is down 4.4K. He's capable of hitting a lot of threes. He plays really well for DraftKings scoring. 4.4, I think he's a solid option. And then my second favorite on the Grizzlies would, be Jaren Jackson at 6.3. You know what you're getting with Jaren Jackson. I mean, the results, the variance in his results are all, way up, way down. Probably a better tournament type play, but on the 6-game slate, I don't hate him for cash games either. So, just to sum it up, those Clippers guards, I think are great plays. And then Bane and Jaren Jackson, I think are fine options on the Grizzlies side.
All right, let's talk about this game, AP. This is definitely a good one. And the reason why is look at the total. It's a 220.5 total. We also have news in it. Could be a fast-paced game. Could be a lot of defense not played. One guy I really like, I love Reggie Jackson here. Reggie Jackson at 6.5K. I think he has a massive ceiling on this slate. And because Steven Adams is a guy that you can just pound in the pick and roll. And we've seen some of Reggie Jackson's biggest games this season against bad pick and roll defenses. So I think this is a really good Reggie Jackson spot. I think it's a great opportunity to spend up on John Moran and be contrarian, because this could definitely be a shootout, a track meet. The Grizzlies are home favorites, -1. Game could go to overtime too. It's definitely a good game overall, AP. What are you doing here with the Grizzlies and the Clippers?
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Reggie Jackson, just to add on to what you said about the pick and roll thing, so on Tuesday's slate, I ended up kind of, pretty much fading a lot of the first game, the Nets, and I played Draymond, and then I backloaded and fell into this kind of nut spot to where Terrence Mann sat, and they had a really tight rotation, and so I just jammed all these guys in, and I was tilting. Not tilting, not just to myself. I was just like, man, Reggie Jackson, you got to get going. I mean, he had like 6 fantasy points in the first half. What he ended with though? 39.5, almost 40. He more than hit value. That's why you don't tilt. They play a whole game. There's 4 quarters, if you didn't know that, in an NBA game, and you just wait it out. You see how the game finishes, and if they bust at the end of it, sure, go tilt. I usually advise go make a drink. It's a much better option than tilting, and then prepare for the next slate tomorrow. I love Reggie Jackson.
Listen, I was in the same boat. I was out, right? And my buddy texted me, oh, Reggie Jackson, 0 for 6 to start the game. And I was like,
yeah.
I mean, he's got all game to figure it out. He'll be fine, right? And of course, I get it. Like you tilt in the moment, but like you're not sitting there in the chat and just all night, oh, he sucks. I reverse jinxed him. Like, hey, Reggie's going to get there. He's going to find a way. They'll find a way to get there. Just don't worry about it. And again, this is a great game. So keep going, because I think there's a lot of opportunity in GPPs here for us.
Yeah. So Reggie, and then, I mean, honestly, you probably got to like Zubac then, right? I mean, it'd be kind of a nice correlation play right there. Or Hartenstein. I mean, that guy, he's had some decent games this year. He's super cheap. And like the minutes are a huge risk, but he's a strong like fantasy point per minute producer. Like, I don't know if he's good or anything like that, but he's going to have to get some minutes in here. So the other thing too about this, keep an eye on the Terrence Mann news. It's an ankle sprain. So just for context, Jimmy Butler had an ankle sprain and was out a couple games. Look what he did yesterday. He absolutely, broke the slate, and you wanted to have him if you were going to take down tournaments. So I'm not saying Terrence Mann is the same type of play at all. What I'm just saying is that players can come, usually it's not as bad as they say it is. Sometimes it's seems like rest purposes, which probably is more true with a guy like Jimmy Butler than Terrence Mann. But still, if Mann plays, he's going to play 30 plus minutes. He's going to command a lot of usage when he's in there. I think he'd be a fine play. And then, Paul George, again, the problem is we want Jokic. I think all 3 of us would agree on that. Are we able to spend for 2 studs? I've seen a few builds. I've played around with the optimizer. There are a few paths. It's difficult though. You need to find some punt value plays, and I'm not sure how I quite feel about that build. So to sum it up, what I do like though is to get exposure to this. Love the Reggie Jackson call. I'm going to be on him with you with that play, man. Go.
Yep, I agree. One thing to mention with like the Jokic stuff, and we'll obviously get in that game shortly, is like there are some good center values, and like I do think you want to spend on Jokic today, but the way you get away with it is if you can have these other spend ups like a Paul George find his way to get close enough to Jokic, who is clearly the top raw points play, or beat him. And then you also need to make sure that these centers can, basically get those, really good values at their price. And there are some decent ones for it being a 6-game slate. One in this game, I mean, Steven Adams, Hoop, I don't know how much you've played Steven Adams. He grades out as a good play. Can you actually play him on this slate? Because that's one guy I struggle with. It's like, you look at the price tag on Steven Adams. If I told you last year you could pay 4.6K and you knew he was on a team where he is like the center, you would think that it's a great way to go, but he has had his ups and downs this year. So what do you think of the value play in Steven Adams today?
Yeah, I mean, just a volatile type play. I mean, for the reasons you mentioned, the results have been all over the map. I mean, he's had some 40-point games. He's had some single-digit fantasy point games, and I've happened to play him on those slates where he's had like the 8s and 10s, and he's had a lot of them this season. So there's definitely risk. I'm just fine not playing Steven Adams. It's one of those situations. If Steven Adams beats me, Steven Adams beats me. I'm not going to be on him. I hate seeing him on the court. He's just like super tilting to me. So I'll just keep fading him. Like I said, I played him twice. It hasn't worked out. Good enough for me. I'm fine just going ahead and moving on. And two teams that, the Clippers do typically have a big out there, either Zubac or Hartenstein. So Adams' minutes should probably be safe tonight, but it's not going to be a play for me.
Yeah, Adams has been one of those guys where he's been on a lot of winning teams for me, but like he's always been the guy that like you if you would have done more, I could have maybe gotten a lot more money out of it. So it's like he's been a little tilting at his price, but hey, this is a good game to get exposure to. AP, any final thoughts here on this Clippers Grizzlies game, or do you want to move on to the next one?
No, I think we're good. Can move on.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Spurs and the Timberwolves, which this is a good one to talk about because the Spurs, you can definitely attack them defensively, and same with the Timberwolves. Another good back and forth game. Both of these ones start at 8 p.m. We got D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, both great options. Patrick Beverley had a really big game. They're going to need his defense tonight here against DeJounte Murray. Let's go to you, AP. What are you doing here with the Spurs and the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I mean, DeJounte Murray's been incredible. He's kind of the guy I want to play with Jokic as kind of that two-stud spin because I don't think a lot of people are going to do it. I mean, he's doing everything for the Spurs right now. And it's like, I started playing him and it's just so consistent. Like he's going to have his down games, but you just prepare for that. It's like you go into it understanding that, look, he's got a low floor, but Pop, like part of the risk is like if Pop pulls him, if he makes some turnovers and stuff, but we're not seeing that anymore. Like the leash there is very long. Pop is letting him run. And the other thing too is like if he's not in there a lot of minutes, the Spurs are probably getting blown out tonight. So because he's been their whole entire offense pretty much. So tougher matchup against Pat Bev, but I think DeJounte is going to be fine. I'm not too high on any of the other pieces. Like, if Thad Young got more minutes, I definitely have interest in him. But 5'5", and you're rarely getting 30 minutes. I don't think you can go there. And then on the Wolves side, I do think it's a good matchup for Anthony Edwards. I think his price has come down a little bit. Just pulling that up. Yeah, he's been like an 8K player. And now we get that 7-7 price tag, a good pace-up matchup. We saw a ton of the Clippers guys hit value. A lot of that was due to a tight rotation, but still, it was a good scoring environment for them. So it's a nice matchup that Anthony Edwards could really get going, put up a nice number. And so for me, it's like DeJounte and Edwards is kind of how I'm going to play it. I'm not really a Pat Bev guy. He's getting 30-plus minutes, but man, like, the second I play him, he's going to play 32 minutes and put up 20 fantasy points, and that's not going to be enough in tournaments. So I'm kind of torn on what to do with him. So I'm going to leave it at DeJounte Murray and Edwards for now.
AP, I don't know. You got to go in the Discord chat. But apparently someone made a GIF, the pen sack. Someone's asking, what's the reverse jinx? It's when you go in the chat and your player's doing bad and you tilt them and then they do better. I post that winking GIF. Someone put a visual picture of me on that GIF. It's actually incredible. So man, Discord is one of the reasons you just got to be a member here at Run Pure Sports. Again, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. That GIF is actually hilarious and amazing that he made it like that. So we may have upped our GIF game over here at Run Pure. So check that out. I got to go over to you, Hoop, and talk about this game because this is an awesome game, right? The Timberwolves, we got the Spurs, and it's a great game. I love Anthony Edwards. I love D'Angelo Russell. I love Karl-Anthony Towns, but I got to pick one, right? I can't play all three. How are you picking between those studs, and what are you doing there with DeJounte Murray?
Yeah, so I mean, on the Timberwolves side, they're like one of the probably like the only team on this slate that the prices really didn't get bumped like way up. I mean, a lot of these players, a lot of these teams, the prices, they got a substantial price increase. I mean, we talked about it in that Cleveland game. We talked about, the studs coming way up. Curry's almost at 12K. Well, you come to the Timberwolves, and you got Pat Beverley, who's playing over 30 minutes. He's only 4.2K. D'Angelo Russell, who I hate playing, fantasy-wise. He's going to come into the conversation today because he's only 7.4K. He's getting the minutes. He's been very productive, at least 35 fantasy points in 4 straight games. Anthony Edwards, he was over 8K for a while. Now he's only at 7.7. So a really good spot for these Timberwolves guys. The prices didn't come up. They're playing a lot of minutes. It's a tighter rotation here, obviously. Vanderbilt, he's only 3.5K as well. He played 25 minutes last game, and not a guy that's going to go out there and get you 40 fantasy points, but man, if he can get into the mid 20s at 3.5K, you'll take that all day long. On the Spurs side, the only guy you can really play, I think, is DeJounte Murray in tournaments. I mean, DeJounte Murray is turning into one of those guys that you might want to just keep in your player pool almost every single slate, because it's not like he has 45, 50 fantasy point upside. He's getting into the 60s when he's going off, and that's big. So for me, DeJounte Murray is a guy that I want to play most nights now if I'm building 150. The matchup is good here. You got a 220 total essentially. Timberwolves only favored by 2, so we're looking at a high-scoring game, close high-scoring game, which is what you want. But with Pirtle back, it's really hard to trust any of these other bigs on the Spurs side. So for me on the Spurs, it's just going to be Murray. But man, these Timberwolves guys are really tough to avoid on the slate, like I said, because so many other players and teams got priced way up. Timberwolves have really come down almost the prices on their main guys. So Timberwolves guys, I think, very strong plays tonight.
All right, AP, the Discord chat is on fire. Man, it's real good right now. But I did want to ask you about one more player. I got distracted. I wanted to ask you about Doug McDermott, because the Timberwolves, you can attack them at the 3-point line. I know he was on your team the other day. You had a really nice winning team. And of course, McDermott didn't get the job done, but he was part of the winning lineup that you had, or team that made you money, I should say. Made you a good amount. McDermott, can you go back to the well with him? Because I think he's not a bad option.
I do got to disclose, he was the last guy in. Okay, I'm
guy in for sure.
I'm never building around Doug McDermott.
Correct.
And the thing that, so like the narrative I was playing on, I took my boy to the Nebraska Creighton game, little interstate rivalry, and they always torch us. And I just watched Creighton torch us again, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play Doug McDermott. He's gonna get it done for me, and he didn't. He missed all of his shots. He had all the opportunity in the world too. So. I could randomly see it. I'm hopeful that there's better value out there than Doug McDermott. That's where I'll leave it at.
Agreed. I think there is. He was kind of, I was thinking of your build, right? Like if you put Murray in there and you put Jokic, well, now you need some value forwards. That was kind of something I was thinking about there when thinking through kind of the roster and everything. One other forward from this game, AP, guard, I like Patrick Beverly at 4,200. I think he's in play for a decent game, but what about Jared Vanderbilt at 3,500? Is he someone you can get behind? I know he's popped a little bit in projections and he's been okay. Do you think he's interesting in this game?
Again, I think I guess in tournaments, I need a little bit more, from him. There's so much, just compare it to the game we were just talking about, the Cavs. Okay. The Cavs have all of these statues, Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro. Those guys don't do anything. And so Darius Garland is going to have to do everything. Ricky Rubio is going to have to do everything. With the Wolves, you got D'Lo, you got Anthony Edwards, you have Karl Anthony Towns. I just think, man, I could see it randomly happening, but you need steals, you need blocks, you need a lot of those peripheral stats, because I just don't think the scoring usage is going to be there. This guy, I think he averages 2 or 3 shots a game. So I'll probably be off of him. But if you need a punt relief value play, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough roster for sure. I've just seen him popping, so I was curious, and I haven't been as excited about him this year. But we can move on. Once we're talking Jared Vanderbilt, I think it's time to go on over to the next game. Hoop, before we go on over to the next game, likes are pretty good, right? 533 watching, 203. What's the number we're looking to pick here?
Yeah, it's a good start. Their chat was strong out of the gate, getting those likes up before the show even started. 275 is the number. I'm very confident we'll get there. 72 away, get to the plays of the day, lock in the winners, and get to the top of the leaderboard. Very simple.
Yep, the mojo is strong today. Definitely good times here at Run Pure Sports. But Hoop, let's go back over to you. Let's talk about the Sixers, who, man, we got to deal with Doc. Absolutely the worst. But, the injury news isn't too bad with Philadelphia today, but you just never know. And then you got another coach that I know you love, Hoop. You love yourself some Mike Malone. So 2 coaches that you are just a huge fan of. We got Jokic, obviously, is a great spend up. We got Will Barton as questionable. And I think Monte Morris, if you have no Will Barton, that's going to be a nice bump for him. And I think AP's boy Bones Highland, we'll let him peel to him shortly. But talk about the Nuggets, talk about the Sixers. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, we've all kind of touched on it, but Jokic, I think by far the top raw points fantasy guy on the slate. 12K, can you pay it? Yes. I think the point that you brought up, Mangone, is pretty good. We do have some pretty good value at center, I think, that we'll talk about in the next game. So I think there is some decision making there, but I think you clearly want Jokic. I mean, he will absolutely have his way with Andre Drummond here. I mean, he will just do whatever he wants, and he does it against anyone, so it doesn't even matter. But great play. In terms of secondary pieces, yeah, a lot of it is contingent on Will Barton, who is now questionable. I'm not playing Will Barton at 7K, but if he's out, Monte Morris has finally started playing some solid basketball, back-to-back 35 fantasy point games. Take that at his price tag. Jeff Green, I think, is in play either way, playing a lot of minutes. I mean, and you know what you're getting. Like, he'll likely finish somewhere in the high teens. If he can get into 25 range, we'll take that at 3.7K. Aaron Gordon, 5.3K. Man, he's tough to roster, but as the last piece in, I don't hate him. On the 76ers side, the only guy I'm looking at is Shake Milton at 5K. And with Shake, we know he'll likely play a lot of minutes here. He played 35 last game, got you 28 fantasy points. If he starts again tonight, I think we can count on the same, 30 some minutes and probably mid 20s in terms of points. And that probably is good enough on the slate. The problem with the rest of these pieces, Tobias Harris at 8.8K. I can't play Tobias Harris at 8.8 on DK. I can't do it. Drummond at 8.2. We've already talked about center, some of these other pieces that we like, and we're starting to now see Drummond fall off a little bit in terms of the production. So too much risk for me on the 76er side. Milton would be my favorite play, and I actually do like him at that 5K price tag. On the Nuggets, we like Jokic. I think Jeff Green is fine either way. But the secondary pieces are contingent on whether or not Will Barton plays tonight. And this game is 9 Eastern, an hour and a half after lock. May or may not have the news.
Yeah, the Will Barton news definitely matters. We got Monte Morris, like I talked about before, but man, Shake Milton, AP had him the other day. He hit a pretty good game. Shake Milton was definitely really good at that price tag. And you got Furkan Korkmaz, who I don't mind going to at 4.4K. He's willing to chuck. I like rostering guys that'll shoot, right? I don't want guys that are standing in the corner like Dean Wade, even though he got the job done for me yesterday. I want guys that are going to chuck. Here's his last 6 games. 12 field goal attempts, 8, 11, 18, 16, 13. Some of those were because of injuries, but played 34 minutes against Utah. Decent spot here, I think, against the Nuggets. AP, what do you think of some of these Sixers options? And what do you think of your boy Bones Highland here with the news?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Bones, obviously. So when I woke up this morning, kind of prepped the, heat map and stuff, I mean, Will Barton was doubtful. So, obviously midday, I don't know if it was a midday, like upgrade to questionable, but, obviously that's a huge piece of news because Jokic is just a lock. If he's out, he's going to be the entire offense. And then I think Monte Morris is close to a lock too. And here's the thing, because Monte Morris had a really slow start to the season. This has been a guy that I've always been impressed with, who used to play off the bench. Now, obviously, with Jamal Murray out, he's taken on more of a starting point guard type role. Slow start to the season. And you got Bones Highland coming in, playing really good. Sometimes that motivates the starter. And so could be one reason why Monte Morris has been revitalized over the last few games. But if Will Barton's out, I think he's a phenomenal play at 4.7. Yeah, I'll be going back to Bones. Like we talked about that Vanderbilt guy, and there's a few other low value plays. I would rather have a guy like Bones who can come in. He's going to chuck. He's going to take 3-point shots. The other day, I forget what game it was. This dude comes in the second half and drains 3 threes in a row, just like boom, boom, boom. So that's the type of player I want when it comes to like a risky value. His minutes. I don't think he's played over 35 or over 25 minutes on the season. So the minutes are definitely a risk, but I like his usage. I'd much rather play him over a guy like Austin Rivers. So keep an eye on the Will Barton news. If Will Barton plays, I do like the matchup. If there's no minutes restriction or anything like that, I think he's like a phenomenal tournament play, because I've been telling you, like Maxey, Milton, like this Philly team right now is terrible defensively, especially in the backcourt. No one will. I guarantee if he gets ruled in, like no one's going to play Will Barton at 7K. And if you were not like, if you want a path, let's just say that happens. If you want a path to where you could fade Jokic, I think you have to play a guy like Will Barton if he's in, because what would hurt Jokic from smashing is obviously Will Barton going off. So obviously we're just talking through hypotheticals there. We don't have the news yet. If he's out, smash Jokic, Monty Morris, those type of plays. If Will Barton's in, I still think Jokic is a phenomenal play. And then, yeah, on the Philly side, I mean, Shake Milton got all the garbage run last game. He's going to get the garbage run this game. The only other like main backcourt guy they have is Isaiah Joe. And, you know, he played 23 and a half minutes. I mean, if this is another spot to where like they get blown out, these guys could get the run. And you know that a guy like Isaiah Joe is going to get those backup minutes anyway. Isaiah Joe, another guy to have kind of in your MME pool. Like, I don't think anyone's going to think about him or play him at all. I'm not saying like go overweight, but get him at like, you know, 8 to 12%, get a little bit overweight. I mean, this is a guy that took like 11 or 12 shots off the bench, played 24 minutes against the Jazz. So kind of an interesting play there, but definitely have interest in Shake Milton. No interest in Tyrese Maxey. Like, I think his floor and ceiling are hurt a little bit playing alongside Shake there. And then Drummond, I definitely wouldn't be playing Drummond in this matchup.
Yep, agree with you on not wanting to play Drummond there. We should give Aaron Gordon a bit of a shout out, right? He is a ceiling, obviously, at that price. He can get the job done, especially if there's no Barton. So Aaron Gordon, worth a mention as well. Let's go over to you, Hoop, and talk about the Raptors and talk about the Jazz. 10.5-point spread. But Raptors, what do we know about them? We know that they love to play their starters minutes, even though it's against the Jazz and it's in Utah. It's not a sexy game, but the minutes equal money, right? And you want to play guys that are going to be on the court playing. Hoop, I'll go over to you. What are you doing here with the Raptors, and what are you doing with the Jazz?
Just got some pretty big news. Hero is out. So
yeah, that is very big news.
Yeah, pretty substantial stuff there. Bam is in.
Deadman available and Caleb Barton available, I see.
Yeah. So just Hero out, which is pretty substantial news. So I'll have to circle back and check that out. In terms of this game, it's going to be the same thing for me with the Jazz. I mean, I hate to sound like a dead record here, or a broken record here. It's just when they're at full strength, I just can't play these guys on a 6-game slate. I just cannot do it. Just too many guys that contribute, too many guys that need the ball. There's just not enough to go around. And I believe they're getting Rudy Gay back as well. And I don't think that's like anything huge, but man, that's just another little thing. Rudy Gay comes in the game. I will guarantee you Rudy Gay will be looking to shoot the basketball, and he is back for sure, right? Tonight. Yeah, he's in tonight. So that's just another little downgrade to the overall production, not overall production, the overall fantasy production of this team. So just another reason to be off of them. On the Raptors side, Precious is going to be out, and I assume that it's Kem Birch that gets the start. I think he's definitely in play at 3K. Chris Boucher, I mean, not the same Chris Boucher as the last few seasons where, you know, if we know he's going to play, he's going to get, you know, upper 20 minutes, and he typically just was going off. This season it's a little bit different, but he's a flat 3K. And if somehow he gets low 20s in terms of minutes, we know what he's capable of. So Birch and Boucher, I think, are very viable options tonight. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of interest in the Toronto side of things. Maybe a little Pascal Siakam for the reason that you mentioned. Like, we know these starters just play a ton of minutes. And if this game is close, Siakam will get like 40 minutes. He's 7.9K. I think that's a reasonable price tag for him. So, I mean, for me, just to sum it up, there's nothing I'm playing on the Utah Jazz side. On the Raptors side, Kem Birch, I think, is a strong play. Chris Boucher as well, both at 3K flat, makes roster construction very easy if you consider those guys.
Yeah, and with OG being out, you got Siakam, who, yes, the other day they said, oh, his he's going to have a minutes limit, and he just played 1 million minutes. And because Nick Nurse shows his hand with his starters. So don't worry about that. Pascal Siakam.
Nurse literally, whatever he says, he cannot resist playing those starters a minute. I don't care like what pregame quotes we get from Nurse. Like he just loves jamming those guys 40 minutes.
If you found out today Chris Boucher was starting, you'd want to get him into your lineup because he would then get the minutes. I mean, it's just simple. That's how that's how Nick Nurse operates. So Fred VanVleet, it's got to be in play. All these guys, I think, AP, they're in the conversation because they have some usage and opportunity here. But the question is, does this game blow out? Do you think it's worth taking the risk compared to some of the other options on the slate? And also, AP, what are you doing here with the Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, so I had to look it up today. I mean, Boucher, he's 6'9", like 198 pounds or something. Like I don't think this guy's 200 pounds. Going up against like Whiteside and Gobert, 2 guys 7 foot tall, 270-pound dudes. Like, oh man, the other interesting thing too is, so I went and looked, and I'm like, I wanted to see what Rudy Gobert has done against the Raptors, because it's not like this has been the makeup of their team for a little while now. Gobert struggled against his team, at least from a fantasy perspective. So obviously has to do something with how Nurse plays this team. Like, I don't think it's going to be the same type of game like we saw from Philly. Like Gobert absolutely owned Drummond. He was swatting all these dudes like Tyrese Maxey and Shake, trying to get into the paint, trying to make their layups. He was just swatting them left and right. I think we're going to see kind of a lot of more mid-range play, maybe a lot of 3-pointers taken here on the Raptors side. So I think if this game stays close, it comes down to shooting. If the Raptors are hitting their shots, so like if it doesn't blow out, which we see a lot of when the Jazz are healthy and play at home, and when it's the regular season, not the playoffs, because we all know what happens to them in the playoffs. You would have to think a guy like Fred VanVleet would have to have a big game. Same with Pascal Siakam. So a couple ways to play it here. I agree with you guys. I'm not playing anyone on the Jazz side. Too many mouths to feed. I could see a scenario like where you look at Siakam, 7'9", fair price tag for kind of what you guys said. Nurse loves to run these guys out. He played 39 minutes the other day. If he plays 39 minutes, 40 minutes in a close game, Siakam could crush. Fred VanVleet could crush. They're down a few guys. So it all comes down to, can they keep this game close? And I might, I'm thinking about running 3 or 4 builds tonight. And one of my builds, I might run it where I look at VanVleet and Siakam. Undecided yet, but those would be the guys I'd look at.
Yeah, I like that idea. Guys, if you could hit that like, hit that subscribe on the video, helps us out a ton. We're going to get to the plays of the day here soon, but I got one more thing to ask, and AP, I'll ask it to you since you're kind of talking about the situation. I like Siakam to maybe play some of the 5, because I could see Kem Birch. One, I could see Kem Birch getting into foul trouble. 2, yeah. I could see Chris Boucher just going onto the court and being a disaster where Nick Nurse just says, all right, this ain't working. Yeah. We're going to run more Siakam at the 5 while we can. And then Svi slides in there if they're hitting threes. That's the way they could be in the game and be competitive. So do you think that that's a very viable route? I think it's a really good tournament route to consider Siakam more and more. Yeah,
I mean, you make such a good point. Like the Jazz are such like when they're healthy, like, and their coach is like a psycho, man. When you watch this guy on the sideline, I mean, he is so intense. He's going to expose whoever the weakest guy is on defense. That's going to be Chris Boucher when he's on the court. So I think that's a huge risk to him. I think, man, if they're within 10 points, Nurse is going to have to play VanVleet, Trent, Barnes, and Siakam all like 38 minutes, you would think. And I could see that. I think you go Birch, and then, when he gets into foul trouble, you move Siakam to the 5, and you bring in Svi for some outside shooting. That's how I would run it if I was coaching, trying to keep this matchup close.
All right, Hoop, before we get out of here, right, we got to get those likes up. They're at 243, and we got to talk some Tyler Hero news. So let's discuss that real quick. We'll obviously be talking in the Discord chat and breaking that all down, but what does that do for you? What does that change with this game here, Hoop?
Yeah, just circling back to that and just looking at a little more, looking at this bench that the Heat have, man, like I wish we had some sort of information on Jimmy Butler, because if there's any chance Jimmy Butler's like full minutes here on the back-to-back, might be hard not to play. He looked so good last night. Like he looked absolutely amazing. The matchup's really good against Miami. I know I said when we initially talked about this game, I don't know if I could go to him on the back-to-back. Might change my mind a little bit because, man, like without Hero, his role is just going to be absolutely massive. I don't know. What do you guys think on Jimmy Butler?
I love Butler in this spot. I think it's a good guy to go to here. I think he's definitely a really good option. So I like him. I also don't hate Duncan Robinson because they are going to need some more 3-point shooting now. Obviously, they have to set up some plays for him, but don't hate him. And, you know, another guy that could slide in and get more work who's looked a little better is Caleb Martin. I was kind of getting on someone in the chat the other day. I said it's the wrong slate for, and I think it was, but this might be more the right slate to consider it because it just, there's not as much value that you love. And I think it's not a bad option to go to. And another point to make with Jimmy Butler, I don't know, small forward was a spot where I think that you could have used some value plays and you were maybe going to some of these value plays on this slate because you didn't love the position. Now it makes it, hey, if you just spend on Jimmy Butler, it just secures that situation and there's better values at other spots. AP, what about you? What's your take now on Jimmy Butler with Tyler Hero being out and some of these other Heat options?
Yeah, I just like, I feel like the pressure's off him with Lowry on this team. I feel like he's far more effective working off the ball. So 9-5, I'm not worried about the back-to-back unless we get some words. I mean, they're in Miami. Doesn't he like playing back-to-backs when he's at home? Like gets to go home, chill. There's no practice or whatever that day. I thought he was one of those guys.
I will say, if you're Jimmy Butler, if you're the guy that goes at the press conference yesterday and says, Lowry, Bam, you better be out there, like better be working. You got to work too. You can't not work. I mean,
so, good point.
Bam's the guy that's going to crush, though, in my opinion. I mean, look at you got Bam Gafford and Trez. I mean, Bam's going to get whatever he wants, and so I mean, he's the guy I'd go.
Well, here's the problem with Bam. Once you play Bam, and if you think he's like one of the guys who's optimal on the slate, well, now you only got one more spot for Jokic, and we had all those other cheap options that we talked about. So I do think you can spend on Bam and Jokic though and get away with it. But if you play Bam, Jokic, then you're not getting Butler probably. I'm sure that's very difficult to do. So it's definitely added an interesting wrinkle to the slate.
Yeah.
I don't got too much else to say. Hoop, we're struggling on the likes. We'll give him one last chance. 250. They got to get it home. Any final?
Well, he said 275 actually. So I mean, they're 25 short. Yeah, 275. I mean, running out of time, really. I mean, we got another show coming up here. We have the Up to Lock show, JSU, BigT, Holden. You need to get the likes up if you want the play of the day. I mean, we can't stall for much longer. I mean, Mangone has done a good job of giving you ample opportunity to get there. The likes started out super strong, tailed off a little bit now. We're stuck at 250. I do see it's coming up now. I have confidence we'll get there. It's just a matter of how long me, Mangone, and AP end up stalling here for you, really.
I'll give him one last chance. Showdown stuff, right? I mean, you want to check that out tonight. Patriots, we got the Falcons. Do you have any showdown takes for the people, Hoop? I think that's what
it's just such a I mean, it's been great success recently with the showdown stuff, but man, it's just such an uninspiring game. I mean, just the Patriots and the Falcons. It is interesting from the standpoint, the running backs on the Patriots, like what's going to happen. Stevenson absolutely crushed last game, but now Damian Harris is back. Is it going to be a split situation? Does Harris just get his role right back this game? That's very interesting. It sounds like Cordero Patterson is going to miss. Mike Davis back into our lives. I mean, he's been just an utter disappointment all season long. Both these teams are just very tough from a fantasy perspective. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like crazy and weird took down the Millie tonight.
AP, any showdown thoughts for us? We want to get onto the plays. What's your thoughts here?
I haven't even looked at that yet. So
gross.
No,
it is a gross one.
Yeah, no, we got I'm just so deep into NBA right now. I got Snyder, he's producing the article, so go check out the Jim's article. We got Snyder's takes. I'm gonna be a member for Showdown tonight. I'm gonna follow everyone's scores. I'm gonna follow the article and the advice.
Yep, Big T's player pool. We got it all over here at Rum Pure, but we can dive into the plays, and I'm trying to remember the order I'm supposed to go. I think it's Hoop, me, and then AP. So hopefully I got that right. So Hoop, we always got to kick it off with the rich parents play of the day. It's always a great way to start off your day. So, rich parents that gave us some money to go to the cafeteria, get some lunch, get a good little meal. What are we doing here? What are the rich parents paying for tonight for us?
Rich parents just make life a hell of a lot easier. I mean, it's just very simple when the parents are loaded. Tonight, though, for the rich parents play of the day, I'm going to go to a team that I'm not really thrilled with. Don't love this team, but I like this play. And I'm going to go Shake Milton, 5K, good price tag, going up against the Nuggets. They've shown some vulnerability against opposing guards. Only 5K though. And I'm assuming the same role he had last game, 30 some minutes. He's a guy that can get hot. He can contribute across the board. Shake Milton is going to be the rich parents play of the day.
All right. Well, I kind of talked about him a little bit earlier. This is my play of the day. I'll make it quick. Reggie Jackson, going to kill him in the pick and roll, going to chuck up a ton of shots. Even good if Terrence Mann is in. Give me Mr. Reggie Jackson is my play of the day. AP, we'll go over to you. Who do you got? Close it out for us. Who is your play of the day?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think this guy was going to be chalky, but we're kind of showing that. I don't really care. I mean, it is what it is. We can always get different, but and I'm a tournament player, but I got to go Darius Garland. Everyone's going to think the Warriors just blow them out, wipe them off the floor. But if you're Garland, like, this is your game. This is your time to shine, beat the team that's only lost once on the season. I'm not saying they're going to beat them or anything, but all they need to do is stay within 18, 20 points. And Garland's going to get all the minutes here. It is a back-to-back, somewhat concerning, but they have no other dudes. And they're going to need him out there making shots. And I just can't get over the fact that, he almost took 20 or 30 shots last game. So sign me up, Darius Garland.
I don't think he'll be super popular, by the way.
I don't either. I'm not the projections were low on him.
I think he'll be.
He's not going to be unowned. It's not like he's going to be a 4% player or something, but there's no way he gets crazy high ownership tonight. I really don't think
he's not going to be a 60%.
These are all right. So if you're the Warriors, you just come off a game where you blew out the Nets. You're up for that game. This is such a letdown spot, in my opinion, where everyone, no one thinks the game's going to be close except for the guys playing on the Cleveland side. So I would not be surprised if they stayed within striking distance, and maybe they need Steph to come into the fourth and finish things off.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. Be sure to check out the final countdown show coming up with JSU Holden, or maybe it's not JSU Holden. It's Draft Cheat. It's Bobby Gomes and it's Holden. So be sure to check that out over on the premium side, but that'll wrap it up for us. Thanks a lot for joining. For me, Mangone Hoop, and AP. See you guys later.